Alaikum and welcome to another session of Youth Perspectives, where we discuss topics relevant to the youth of America today. I would like to welcome our guest, Bint-e-Zahra here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. So, today our topic relates to our modern day struggle more than ever, and it is the physical absence of our Imam Mahdi Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam. And how we deal with it and how we prepare for his reappearance, all of these things are very central towards our lives today. We hear about this everywhere, in seminars, in majalises, in lectures, speeches, even in discussions. But do we really ever think about how we're going to prepare for when he's here, about what we're actually doing right now for his presence? Do we ever think about what he expects from us in his absence as well as his presence? All of these things are very important to think about, and we barely really put any time into it. So Bint-e-Zahra, why do you think this is such an important aspect in our lives?
I think that the reason why the reappearance of the Imam is very important in our lives is because it's the ultimate goal. Since we're children, our parents always tell us, oh, you should always pray so you can be part of the 113 of the Imam's army. And I think that's very important because that's a whole lifestyle, that's a whole, a way of life, because everything we do revolves around, oh, will the Imam be okay with this? Is this something I would do in front of our Imam? And the reappearance is like a hope for the Muslims. So you know how there's so much going on in this world right now, and there's so much tyranny and there's so much injustice, and it's only fair for us to have someone coming to help us out, someone coming to rescue us, and take us out of all of this. And so it's very good that that's why it's very important, that it's because it's the ultimate goal for us Shia Muslims, and it's also a very good way of guiding the youth of. Especially right now, with all the media that we have and all the distractions that we have, it's a very good way of guiding the youth towards the right path, encouraging the youth and telling us, oh, is this really the right way for us to do something, or is this the right way to pray, or are we praying with enough dedication? Because I've noticed a lot of times we don't pray good enough, or we don't pay enough attention, but it's really important to do that so we can reach our ultimate goal, reach the satisfaction of the Imam alayhi salam.
That's true. I like how you mentioned the youth, because I was going to ask you that up ahead. Do you have any specific ideas in mind how you would want the youth to involve themselves in preparations for the Imam?
I think a very, very important part is creating awareness. Sometimes we normalize such bad things. We say, oh, it's okay, something very negative happened, but it happens, It's the 21st century, anything can happen. But really, our youth needs guidance in that matter, and I think that's very important. So that's something the youth has to do. That's a new idea that only the youth can accept at this point, and it's very important for us moving forward, encouraging ideas of revolutionary ideas that help us, help us bring the Imam faster and get rid of all this injustice in the world.
That's so true. I also think that it's important because right now we're in a time where a lot of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam are being fulfilled. There's all those things that there's minor signs and there's the major signs, and they're all so important, and we see more and more of them being fulfilled in these days. They have been we've been seeing those signs in the past decade or so. But now it's more than ever. They say how the world will be filled with injustice and violence, and we see that happening now. Every corner of the world, there's something happening in regards to, against humanity. And
and also I've noticed that, how we talk about violence so much now that we've normalized it. We say it's okay that it's happening, or it's okay that, we just accept that it's happening. And I think it's very important for the Imam to come now so we can get rid of that and, create awareness in ourselves, because that's what happened when the fight of Karbala happened, when Imam Hussein was there. The reason why no one helped him is because they didn't realize that the extent of the things that are happening right now are very bad, So it's very important that our Imam comes now so we can get rid of that and we can create awareness, because that's the only way that the world is going to come back to peace, right?
That's true. I like how you compared it to Karbala, because honestly it's so similar. We see how during Karbala, people weren't aware of what was happening. A lot of people even went oh, he was already killed, that already happened. When did this happen? How did we not know about it? And to compare that to today, to our modern struggle, we see it happening now. people are being killed, but especially Shia, not just Shias, but literally all kinds of people are being killed all over the world, and you literally just hear about it and you're like, oh, that happened? Like, how did that happen? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
I feel
take
bad
a
for them.
second to forget about it. We
That's
just
true.
say, oh, some people died here in this part of the world, and then in a second we're back to our lives and we're saying, oh, what
That's
kind of
true.
makeup are we going to wear today? But it's very important for us to create the awareness that is very important, because people are just normalizing these kind of things now. Like even haram stuff that's happening these days, it's so normal. Like, oh my God, she did that, that's fine. He did it, it's okay. You know, we're normalizing this stuff, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Our imam, we're waiting for our imam, and in the wait for our imam, instead of getting worse, we should be getting better. We should be working harder, because there's a reason why the imam is not coming yet. And the reason is that we're not good enough. We need to be better for this world to suffer less. If we really feel for like the children in Syria that are going through such a hurtful time of their lives, we need to do something about it. And not everything has to be done hands-on. We have to fix ourselves first. That's how we're going to fix our community. And so it's very important for us to fix our namaz, our hijab, our lowering our gaze, and just very normal things that are going to guide us to the imam.
That's very true. It is our responsibility to be like the representatives of imam, because honestly, us as Muslims right now, we believe that, oh, I'm doing my namaz, my hijab, I'm taking care of myself, and I'm fine. But really, that's not how it works. That's not what our imams taught us. We see our prophets and our imams, since the beginning of time, their main aim was to better society, better the community, not just themselves. Of course, you come first, even in the eyes of Allah. Allah wants you to better yourself before you better anyone else. But as Shias, we should be, and looking at the situation in the world today, much like she said, our responsibility is not just to ourselves, and yeah.
And also that, how you said that it's not our responsibility is not to ourselves. I think a very important way of looking at that, a very significant way of looking at that, is being grateful of our blessings, because we see so many children, so many people suffering in this world, and a really good way of keeping ourselves in check is being grateful. And I have a hadith right here from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that mentions that the Prophet used to thank Allah 360 times every day for the abundance of the blessings that Allah has given him. So that is something that we should take inspiration from. If 360 times a day is unrealistic for us, at least once a day we should sit there and we should say, wow, look at the blessings Allah has given us. Like, we're breathing, we're living with our families, alhamdulillah, we're all safe, we're healthy, we're living in a good environment, we have education, we have so many basic rights that are not even, imaginable for some people. Some people think drinking water and having some limited amount of food is their basic need right now, and we take everything for granted. So I think feeling blessed and being grateful is a very, very important part of getting ready for the imam to come for.
That's true. A lot of the things that you mentioned are also signs of the reappearance of imam. They say that there's going to be disparity between like classes. So there's going to be some people that are going to be really, really like rich and wealthy, and they're going to have everything, and then there's going to be one group of people that are barely going to have anything. And we see that happening not even just like in different countries, but in the same community. You see people who have everything. They have big houses that they don't even need that much space, but they have huge houses. They have more food goes to waste than the food that is actually eaten. And then there's some people who have houses that are barely even standing. You see that as the wind blows, their house shakes. You actually see that happening. It's not like, it's something that, is in some other country where you don't even see it happening, but it's real. And like I was saying, as the representatives of Islam, it's our responsibility to at least try and make a difference. And what better way than to actually bring that practice into our daily lives, especially because we know that our imam, the time has come for imam to be here. We need him to be here, and if we want him that badly, then we need to actually do things to help him get here. There are many ahadith and many sayings that say that the imam will actually reappear when we work towards it, not just when we just say that, oh, imam, where are you? Oh, imam, when are you coming? Because that's not enough. Just saying things is not enough. We always need to back up our words with actions. So Bint-e-Zahra, I was going to ask you, what are a few specific things that you have in mind that we can do to prepare for his reappearance?
Yeah, I actually have a few things. The first thing I would say is fixing our namaz. Our namaz is the most important part of our day, and we take it so lightly. Instead of saying, "Oh, I have to go to my Lord and pray to Him and be thankful," we say, "Oh, I have to pray because it's haram if I don't. It's wajib on me to pray, and I don't want to get punished." But it should really be us being grateful because we have so many blessings. So that's one thing. The other thing was, we have to clean ourselves internally, Islamically, like eating halal food, being in halal gatherings, not listening to haram things, not looking at haram things, being pure ourselves. And the third thing that I had was patience. We have to be very, very patient because we should think of it this way. We're being patient for a little while, we're waiting for the Imam for a little while. But the Imam has been waiting for us to fix ourselves for a long time. He's been in ghaiba for a very, very long time, and it's very important for us to realize that. And so whenever you feel angry or you can't be patient, you should really realize that the Imam is in more pain than I am. The Imam is suffering more than I am because he has been waiting for us for so long to fix our small mistakes, but we just don't pay attention to that. We're just busy in our worldly lives. So I think that's very important. Patience is one of the most important factors of being ready for the Imam.
That is very true. Another few things that I had in mind was also it just always goes back down to the basics. We always think about, what are the big things that I can do to help the reappearance of the Imam. But if you just go all the way down to the roots, the first thing that we're usually taught as kids is namaz, as our salat. And if you think about it, if you really work towards your wajibat about, am I praying namaz on time? Is my hijab complete? Am I paying my khums on time? Do I have any haq, any rights of the sadat that I'm keeping for myself? All of these little things, honestly, we barely ever think about it. These are things that they don't just affect our daily lives, but also our nafs, our soul. There's so many sayings that prove to us that when we do something for Allah, it's not only we do it with the niyat, with our intention of doing it for Allah, but it all comes down to us. We're doing it for ourselves because we know it's going to help us and our future generations. Also,
since you mentioned future generations, I think a very important thing to do while we're preparing for the Imam is gaining knowledge, because everything that we do should revolve around, educated decisions. And so we shouldn't be just irrationally making decisions when we have the opportunity to gain an education. And the Imam always says that, the Imams and the Prophets always say that, gaining knowledge is very, very beneficial to you, and there's a lot of sawab in it. So I think that's a very important part of shaping the generations to come and helping the Imam, because the Imam is not only going to need hands-on fighters, he's going to need intellectual people to help him out and promote his army and help out the good purpose of bringing peace back to this world.
That's true. And it's not just going to be him just arriving and then the fight starting. That's not how it's going to be. It's going to be all gradual. It's going to be it's a whole process that's going to take place. Another thing that I thought would actually help us prepare is trying to incorporate mustahabat into our daily lives, because yes, I mentioned wajibat, but since most of us are practicing Muslims, we know what we're supposed to do. We can try to boost that by doing a few mustahabat things, a few mustahab actions. Just the little mustahabat that go along with praying namaz, that go along with doing wudu, that go along with our daily lives. Wake up, say salam to the Imam, read ziyarat before leaving the house, just a short, quick ziyarat. There's so many little things that we can do. And there's another extension that I had to this was not are the mustahabat only going to help us, but then once we're satisfied with ourselves, with our wajibat and our mustahabat, we know that we can also practice nahi anil munkar and amar bil maruf, because those are things that will help us spread our message, and it's not just our message, it's the Imam's message, it's Allah's message. We should also ask ourselves, if the Imam was here tomorrow, like if you were to be here when I wake up, what are the things that I would regret not doing or regret doing? What are some things that I would have done differently? What are some things that I would want to work harder on? What are some things that I believe were more important, but I didn't give them the importance that they deserved? There's all these little things that we need to focus on. Did you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I actually have a hadith on the importance of the reappearance of the Imam. It is, the world will not come to an end until a man from the descendants of Hussein takes charge of the affairs of the world and fills it with justice and equity as it is filled with injustice and tyranny. This is a hadith from the Prophet, peace be upon him. And I think that's very important because it just tells us how important the reappearance is, especially to the youth. I feel like we don't understand how important it is. We don't give it as much importance as it deserves. And that's really important to know, that there's literal hadiths on this, like on the reappearance of the Imam and the importance of it.
Yeah, that's very true. I like how you mentioned the hadith of the Prophet, because that's something that's very important. A lot of the Imams and the Prophets had foretold his coming, the coming of the Mahdi, and how he would only come when the world was filled with violence. So one of the most common questions that us, as not just as Shia people, but also as kids, as the youth, we have this question almost every day. We ask ourselves, or we ask people around us, why does he not come right now? Like, when is he gonna come? Why is he not here already when there's so many people dying and there's so many people struggling? And I thought about it for a little while, and there's a few reasons that I came up with, and honestly, they're not really definite answers, because there's not really a definite answer to it. We know there's very vague definitions to when the Imam will come and when he's going to be here for us physically. We already know that he's there for us in spirit, and we can always ask him for help, and we do get guidance. Sometimes you just send a quick little prayer, and you actually notice that that prayer gets answered. You're like, oh Imam, what do I do? And suddenly you have this idea in your head, okay, I can do this, and this might help me. So to answer that, the very easy answer that gives you kind of a satisfaction is the fact that it is Allah's will. Everything we say, Allah says kun, just Allah says kun, and it happens. So all of this, the absence of the Imam, the guidance that we have from him, but not with his physical presence, all of this is based on Allah's infinite wisdom. We don't know why he does it or how he does it. A lot of things we don't know why he does, but we know that he does them for a reason. And sometimes you even see, like you ask for something, it doesn't work out, you're like, okay, maybe Allah didn't want it to happen. And then some time passes and you realize this happened because of this. If that would have happened at that time, this is how it would have affected me negatively now. We don't realize it at that time. And that's just a small example, but there's some things that happen that we will never get answers to. But we know that it's for our good, and Allah wouldn't let anything happen to harm us. There's so many things that we can think about this way. It helps us in so many ways, countless ways. And then another answer that I thought of is, it's a test. Allah says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْإِنسَ وَالْجِنَّ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And so why else did Allah create humans and jinn except for to test them, to test their beliefs, to test their faith, and for them to worship Allah. And Allah could send people to paradise just easily, that you were a Muslim, you had good beliefs, you can go to heaven. But then what would the point of this life be? He gave us, especially our generation, the generation of the 12th Imam, he gave us this test because how they say that it gets harder before it gets easier. So because now we're heading towards the end of the times, we know that it's only going to get harder until the Imam comes. And even after that, it's not going to be easy sailing. We're still going to have struggles, we're still going to have tests in our way. And they say that it's harder to be obedient to Allah and to the Imam's beliefs in this time when he's not here to guide us physically than it is going to be obedient when he's actually here. Because obviously when we have the Imam in front of us, it's going to be hard to not believe in it. They say seeing is believing. I personally don't believe in that, because we don't see Allah, but we still believe in him. But we know that the Imam's physical presence is going to make it easier for people to believe. But for those people who believe in him while he's here, their reward will be great, but it won't be as great as the people who believe in him while he's not here. Because we're only going off of things that we've heard and the traditions that we have from the Imams and from the Prophets. This is just one aspect though, because remember that we know that even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, wasn't able to spread Islam to the entire to the entire world. He could only do so much, and it increased Imam by Imam by Imam. And we know that Imam Mahdi is the only Imam who's going to be able to spread Islam throughout the world and be able to have the influence over like the entire globe. But to do that, he's going to need, like you said, strong helpers, believers who will stay with him no matter what. And when we think about it, we think about preparations like you talked about Karbala. They say that, oh Imam, we're going to be there for you when the time comes, but you're never really ready. You never really know when it's going to happen. You just need to be ready. We look at Karbala and we know that they kept saying to the Imam, they called him to Kufa. They said, we're going to be here for you when you come. We're here to help you. We're here to stand up against the oppression that you're facing. But when Karbala actually came, all those people left him. We hear about how when Hazrat Muslim, when he's praying namaz in the masjid, when he turns around, he looks that there's a huge group of people. As the namaz begins to go on, when he finishes the namaz and he looks back, there's only a small group of people, or I think that there were no people left, something like that. And we know that we were sent these imams for our guidance and to help us, and so we need to have that strength in our belief that he's going to be there no matter what. And we know that the situation is going to continue like this until we realize that we need the Imam. There's also this theology, this understanding that I read somewhere, that the situation will continue till such a time when people realize that they need a divinely appointed Imam who rule over them, since they can't solve their problems by themselves. And when this happens universally, and when people become frustrated and disappointed from any type of ism, which is like a way of life or an ideology, and when they all raise their hands for help, then people are going to be ready for the Imam. They know that his presence is needed, and they won't jump up to kill him the way that they did for the previous Imams, because they know that they're going to need him. And this is not just for the Muslims. Even the Christians believe in the reappearance of the Mahdi. Of course, this won't happen until the people of the world undergo, a much more, a heavier affliction. They're gonna witness worse wars. They're gonna witness even more starvation than there already is. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. And when Imam Mahdi alayhi salam comes, all kinds of ideologies are going to be tested, and they will fail. There's going to be, like they say that when capitalism came up to us, right? This is just an economical aspect, but when they say that some people think that capitalism was the way to solve the problems of the economy, but then now they know that it's going to crash because it's based off interest, and we know that interest, it's a very sensitive issue in Islam. And not just economical, but people are going to suffer from all types of corruption, and we know that this is a major sign of the reappearance of Imam, that all kinds of corruption are going to be rampant. There's going to be lust, there's going to be spiritual afflictions, there's going to be the struggles of everyday life. Why is it so hard to earn money? Why is it so hard to live a normal life in this society? And all these are just, again, signs of the reappearance of the Imam. And they say that the Imam will only come when he has 313 virtuous helpers ready for him. And not just, by name, that, oh, I'm ready for the Imam, when is he coming, I'm already ready for him. But actually, are you ready to put your life on the line? And like you said, it's not about just physical fighting. It's about, all the kinds of help that he needs, becoming a doctor, becoming a teacher. Because just because when the Imam is here, it doesn't mean that the kids are going to be taught themselves. We're going to need good teachers to teach the kids. Did you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, what's really, really sad and what's really disappointing is that we have such a huge amount of people on Earth right now. There's 7-point-something billion people, and it's so sad that the Imam isn't here, which means at one time there aren't 313 people that are ready for the Imam to come, which is so sad. That tells us that we don't even have 313 leaders over this entire globe that are ready for our Imam to come. And we always pray, I hope the Imam comes fast, but are we really doing everything that we're supposed to do for the Imam to come? It's like actions speak louder than words. So are we really doing what we're supposed to be doing? Because if we keep saying it, it's not going to get us anywhere. But if we start doing things for the Imam, that's the only way that we're going to be able to, productively help the Imam when he comes. Because if he's here and we're not ready, then how are we, our promises that we made, the promises that we made to the Imam, they were all empty promises. They weren't sincere enough for the Imam to count on them, Then this is going to be the Battle of Karbala all over again, where Imam Hussein was counting on people. And he obviously, he's an Imam. He knew people wouldn't come. But he was counting on the people that said they would be there, but they weren't. So I think it's just like that. We keep saying, oh, when the Imam comes, I'm going to start praying on time and I'm going to, go fight with the Imam. But really, are we really working towards it? Like, if we're not putting in the effort of praying on time, we're doing the little things that count towards the Imam coming faster, then how are we guaranteeing the Imam that we're going to be there?
That's true, yeah. They also say that, 313 is a very high number for Imam Mahdi, because they say that none of the previous Imams or even the Prophets had that high of a mantle for his helpers. There's a tradition by about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where they say that before his death, he instructed Imam Ali alayhi salam that the number of followers loyal to him after the death of the Prophet should exceed 40 men. And if he had more than 40 people, standing up with him, Imam Ali alayhi salam, then he should, fight against the evil and openly, use his forces to restore his right and take the power as he should have. But if it was less than 40, much like we know that it was, Imam should just, step down and he should keep silent, because the only remaining pious people would be killed without being able to help him. And that's, unfortunately, it's such a sad thing to hear, that even not just in our time, but even in Imam Ali alayhi salam's time, where he was there telling people, ask me, I'm here to help you, no one wanted to help. There was not even 40 people. And now we know that the population of the world has increased, but even 313, that is not a lot of people to ask for. There's another tradition about Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, where they say Sahal ibn Hassan al-Khurasani, who was one of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt in Khorasan, came to Medina to meet Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. And Sahal al-Khurasani said to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, why are you, you're the Imam of the Ahlul Bayt, what prevents you from getting your right, for asking for your right from the bad people of the time, when you know that there's 100,000 Shias who are ready to fight for you? You know that there's a lot of people who want to help you. And the Imam then, he was very calm. He's like, okay, come sit down, let me show you, let me explain it to you. And so they went inside the house, they sat down, and he turned on the oven, and they just sat down. After a while, the oven heated up and turned red. It was so hot that it turned red. And Imam said to him, O Khorasani, step into the oven and sit in it. Then he replied, Ya Imam, you're the son of the Messenger of Allah. Do not punish me by doing this to me. I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit in the oven. I know it's hot and it's going to hurt me. Why are you asking me to do this? And so while he was saying this, a man named Harun al-Makki entered the room. And, he came and said salam. They just talked for a little while. And then Imam told him to remove his shoes and sit inside the oven. And Harun al-Makki quietly went and he did it. He didn't question the Imam at all. He didn't even say, why are you asking me to do this? He just quietly removed his shoes, went inside the oven and sat down, while seeing that it was boiling hot, it was scalding hot, it was red. After some time, Imam continued the conversation with the Khorasani man, and he kept talking, and then, the Sahal al-Khorasani is like, oh Imam, you're forgetting about your friend inside the oven, he must be burning up, he must be dead by now. And so Imam asked him to get up and look inside the oven. And, he looked inside it, and he saw Harun sitting there cross-legged as if he was sitting in a garden. And so he asked him to come outside, and then the Imam asked Sahal, he's like, how many Shias of mine do you know who are like this? Even you yourself couldn't sit inside the oven when I asked you to, but this man did. And this is only one person that I have out of so many people who I could have asked, And so we see that there's barely any people who are like that for the Imam. We say that, oh yeah, we're ready to fight for the Imam. And yes, there are plenty of people who do that. But not just, some people say that, oh, it's easy for us to physically fight for the Imam. Some people say that, oh, my nafs is strong enough, but I will never give my life for the Imam. We need to be able to do whatever he's asking us to do, whenever he asks us to do it. And so the Imam confirmed his saying and said, we do not rise at this time when we do not even have 5 helpers like Harun Makki. We know better about the appropriate time. And so this is, again, it hints at the hidden knowledge that the Imams possessed. The traditions state that Imam Mahdi needed 313 followers that are not only sincere and faithful, but also possess supreme knowledge and wisdom. Like I said, they shouldn't only be able to give up their lives, but they should be able to, their soul should be strong enough to do what the Imam says, even when they know that it's going to harm them or their family. And Imam is not going to just need, like we said, fighters. He's going to need all kinds of positions. He's going to need good moms and dads for the future generations. He's going to need good teachers. He's going to need good doctors, even good, public speakers. We don't just need someone who is able to, heal someone or go fight, but someone who's able to inspire the people. Because Imam, he is masoom, he is from Allah, but he is human. And as the previous Imams have shown us, they have hidden knowledge, they have hidden wisdom, but they're going to need the resources to expand into the world to be able to do what Allah has asked them to do. And what better way than to start now, to start with our basic behavior, our basic ideas, our wajibat, our mustahabat, our beliefs that we practice in our daily lives. Is our hijab complete? Are we doing what the Imam has asked us to do? Basic, even our fiqh, is it strong enough? And so this is something that we really need to think about. Again, we need to ask ourselves, are we ready? If our Imam is here tomorrow morning, have we done enough for his presence? Are we ready enough for him to be here? What am I going to regret that I didn't do for him as a woman, as a girl, in this community, in this society, in this age and time, as a teenager? Am I strong enough to be there for my Imam when he is here? What if he was here tomorrow? We need to think about that. And so to wrap up this topic of reappearance and preparation, are there any thoughts, anything that you would like to add?
I definitely agree with your last point, the one that you said that if the Imam comes tomorrow, are we going to be ready for him? Because that's the only way we're going to be able to judge if we're going on the right path. I definitely agree with that. And everything you said was very, very interesting and very true about the reappearance of the Imam.
That's true. It all comes down to like our daily, our minimal behaviors. Am I lying? Am I stealing? Am I doing what the Imam has asked me to do? And honestly, it's the hardest thing to do, because like I said, when the Imam is here with us physically, it's going to be so easy to follow him, right? But he isn't here right now, and we don't see him with our own physical eyes. We know he's there. And unfortunately, some of us even have the struggle to believe if he's even there. And that's really sad, because we don't educate ourselves enough about the Imam and about his aim and his mission.
Yeah, and this is the real test. This is how Allah is testing us, and testing if we're actually ready for the Imam to come back and help us bring peace to the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so to wrap up, we just need to ask ourselves that, and to remind ourselves every day, every second of the day, that we have a responsibility. We're not just put here to just live our life and then just pass away to the next world. Because even then, Allah is going to ask us, what did you do for your Imam? What did you as an individual do to help influence the people around you? Not just yourself, but the people around you too. And so, this is where we're going to wrap up. We just need to continuously remind ourselves. Thank you for joining us for our session today. Inshallah, we will see you next week on Youth Perspectives.